Welcome to Death by Dragons. This is my tournament report from this year's Clash of Kings UK 2019. So I'm going to do this in 2 videos, I think, probably, because it's just otherwise it's going to be obscenely long. And while you all obviously love hearing my beautiful dulcet tones, this is mostly photographs, and I think it's a bit wearing if I do like 6 games in a row. So we're going to do games 1 to 3, and then the next video, or the video kind of next week, I guess, will be games 4 to 6. So, Clash of Kings is the UK, if you don't know, it's the UK's biggest tournament. It is kind of our open. This year had 86 players. It was brilliant. It was at Element Games in Stockport. It was really fun. Huge international presence there. And I played, I think I played 1 international player? 2 international players, 2 guys from Spain. So we'll come to that in a bit. And I'll also do my standings of where we were at the end of game 3, so you know kind of where things are and where everyone was standing. I bought my Ratkin, and I will, at the end of game 6, I'll do some army kind of photographs, but they're all over Kings of War Fanatics. But if you don't visit Kings of War Fanatics because you like yourself, then I will put the photographs while I chat about the tournament at the end. In a Visibly Riley style recap, because as we know, everything I do is wildly copied from Visibly Riley. So, I bought my Ratkin. 2,000 points. This is the same list as my last battle report, so you can probably skip this bit if you've seen it. It's 2 regiments and a horde of tunnel slaves. 2 hordes of shock troops, 1 with Dwarven Ale, 1 with Macwar's Potion of the Caterpillar. Macwar, sorry. A horde of Blight with the Brew of Strength. 3 troops of Claw Shots. 3 weapon teams with the Piercing upgrade. A Warlock with Bane Chant and the Inspiring Talisman. A Swarm Crier with the Diadem. And the good old Demon Spawn with Wings. So that's my list. I like my list. I think it's as good as I can get it. The only thing I would probably change if I had the models was maybe swapping the Demon for some Death Engines. But, maybe not. We'll see. Yeah, I much prefer the shock troops to be slightly less punch. I think shock troops with sharpness are devastating, but I can't use them very well because, I'm me, and you've seen how I play. So this was my Ratkin list. So the first game, game 1, this was a challenge match, and this was kind of funny. It was kind of stupid too. So Nick Williams of Nick Williams fame, if you don't know who he is, one of the best players in the world and a massive figure in the scene, had challenged me on Countercharge, which is a podcast that I contribute to, for a laugh. And then kind of through the months, this challenge progressed and got worse. And we said, right, let's do it Friday night, really drunk as we can be, Friday night. And then we're like, let's do a costume. And I said, all right, Nick, fine. I'll do a costume. I'm fine with that. Ball gowns or hot pants? Because I thought I'm going to call your bluff here. And he selected hot pants. So we did. So there are photographs. I might dig one out in a bit of me and Nick in hot pants. In fact, let's do one quickly now. Are you ready? Are you ready? I don't think you're ready. Maybe close your eyes if you're not ready. Oh God! Oh God! Oh why? People made lots of weird comments, like their eyes and stuff. I thought we looked lovely. So that was a bit fun. Anyway, so Nick was playing his Brotherhood with some Basilean allies. So I have played this army before in a slightly different version. But he swapped out a Phoenix. So if you skip a long way back, I don't know if there's a tournament report. It was called... I can't remember what it was called. It was at Element Games about a year ago. It was my first ever tournament. So, and he beat me. Anyway, so he's got a horde of Elohi. That's the allies now. He had a Phoenix as well, but now he's just got the horde of Elohi. Okay, he's got a horde of Villain Plowshares. He's got 2 hordes of Water Elementals, one of which has the Healing Brew. He has 2 regiments of Order of Redemption. So these are like the elite knights. Yeah, so normal knights hitting on 3s, defense 5, all that lot. 1 has strength, 1 has sharpness. 1 troop of Villain Reconnoiterers. So these are like nimble horsemen, a troop of them. A Forsaken Beast. which is like a height 4, 15-17 unit with breath attack, and he's given it an upgrade of breath attack and ensnare. So it's not got a lot of attacks, but it's kind of with ensnare and breath. It's kind of like a blocking piece. He's got a devoted, who's a like magic healer person, I think. Mount on the horse, heal, surge, and shroud of the saint. So that's to go with your old water elementals. And an exemplar adjutant, so mounted on a horse with the loot of insatiable darkness. So it's a pretty elite force. But you've always got to remember that you're playing Nick Williams, so he can play. He could have played his Abyssals, which I would have, really not wanted to face. But his army, this army, he spent a huge amount of time modelling it, and you'll see the models. They are unbelievably pretty. And we talked a bit, and he said he does like to play the armies that people say aren't good to prove that they are. And this army, I mean, it's elite, but it's pretty much got everything, hasn't it? It's got two kind of chunks of meat or water in this case. It's got a kind of horde to hold objectives of stuff he doesn't really care about. He's got flying threat. He's got a bit of chaff. He's got breath attack, and he's got a healer. So yeah, interesting times. So this was the battlefield we're playing on. This was actually, and this is funny. So I'm fully aware that some people have already seen this game because it was live streamed on the Friday night. So about half of it had commentary because it was Friday night and they'd been out to dinner, so they were on the way back. And then Rob Berman from Mantic was commentating. He was joined by Dan King about halfway through, which is sorry, Rob, it's when the commentary actually started. So it has a height 2 hill, 2 height 4 forests, 4 height 4 pieces of blocking terrain, and 4 walls. That's it. That's all the terrain. So I would say, how's that? 2, 4, 6, 8. There's 10 pieces of terrain. 2 of them you could argue were 1, which is those walls. I'm used to seeing more kind of like difficult terrain, I suppose, on battles we play normally. So I say it's fairly terrain light. We had 50 minutes to play. We had probably about the same amount of beer, 50 beers. We were pretty drunk. But it's always a bit of fun. We were playing Pillage with 6 tokens, and the tokens are placed here. So we place the tokens in turn, kind of just spread them, I suppose, as much as possible. I tried to spread them as much as possible. Contrast, he's got a flyer, but I've got a flyer too, and I've got a lot more units, I suppose, kind of more meaty horde, so I'm quite happy. Nick won sides and chose the side at the top. You can just see his thighs. Look at that. Nom, 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 nom. The top of the screen. So he chose the top, which I was really happy about. I actually didn't care which side he chose because they're pretty similar. There's 2 pieces of terrain at the top, though, 2 pieces of blocking terrain, so I would have found that a little more difficult to deploy around. But I suppose he's looking at that and thinking, he's got 4 objectives on that side. Yeah, and I've got 3 on my side, really. Or 2 on my side, actually. 2 on my side. But I've got this lovely wood at the bottom, which is where I'm going to stick my claw shots. And they're just going to sit there. Because there's nowhere else. On the other side, I'd have put them in the other wood, but that would have made it harder for me to run past, I guess. But yeah, much for muchness. So let's look at deployment. So, facing what this is the top place of the wall, so we're still facing the same way. That's his Alohi. So his Alohi there behind the house thing. And then on the other side of that house were the 2 regiments. So I think the ones on the right are sharpness and the ones on the left are strength, from recollection. And then the other side of that rock, that's the Forsaken Beast. Oh, I've got a pen. Shall I bring a pen? Way! Forsaken Beast here. These are the 2 hordes of water elementals. I think this is the one with the healing brew. These are his heroes now. I can't remember. I think this is just the banner guy with the loot, and this is the healer guy. So this would be the adjutant, and this would be the exemplar, or whatever it's called. And then at the end, these are the Villain Plowshares. Yeah, so what a gorgeous army. Look at those elementals. These are all 3D printed. Gorgeous. Nick's such a good model, honestly. It makes you sick. Anyway, so turning around, facing my army. So facing the, so we've got the Plowshares and the Water Elementals, right? And the Forsaken Beast. This is my shock troops with Caterpillar. Okay, and the reason for that is because there's some terrain. So if he just holds back in this terrain, I can charge into it, not care. They are 3 weapon teams, and behind there is the standard bearer over here. You can't see him, so that's my kind of breath bits. This is a horde of tunnel slaves. Okay, and then the other side of the rock, we have got, so this is facing off against the knights. This is a regiment of tunnel slaves. This is my warlock with inspiring and bane charm and lightning bolt. This is a horde of blight with strength, and then this is the shock troops with headstrong, right? Dwarven ale. And then next to them, so in the woods, so all touching the woods, we've got 3 claw shots here, here, and here, and the last unit of tunnel slaves, right? And then right out on the flank, that's my demon. So the idea of this is that his Elohi are obviously this away. So the demon matching the Elohi is absolutely fine. I want to put these slaves onto an objective. He's not going to bother with them because he's going to be too bothering. Whoops. He's going to be bothered much more with getting rid of all that with his knights. These guys, I want to be pot-shotting the Elohi and the knights if possible. I want them on an objective, and I want him not to die, please. That's kind of my game plan. As much as you can have a game plan after drinks. So turn 1. Nick won turn 1 and took it. So look, there's beer. Live action beer. So he moved his Elohi forward and round a bit. Now, why have they got 3 damage already? I think because I took this at the end. Yes, that's right. So I took these pictures at the beginning of my turn. I think I'd already done my shooting. So that's why there's 3 damage. Spoiler warning, there's 3 damage. So this rulers is showing that 20, right? So he moved them 20 from my demon, so I couldn't charge them first turn. Which is probably a good idea, I would say. So the 2 knights moved up. So these are... Oh, I thought to say behind the knights was the... whatever they're called. The chaffy knight thing, whatever they're called. Reconnoiterers. Okay, so he moved his knights up like this. So basically, I can't reach them. They're out of 12. There's 12 here from my units. He's moving up as far as he can. And the reconnoiterers are behind. So even if I move up, he can still jump over me. Or he can move something out of the way to get the reconnoiterers in to chaff me and then kind of hammer me afterwards. Also, more spoiler warning. Here's a Forsaken Beast with 1 damage on it. There he is. So then everything else just kind of trundled forwards. As you see, these guys are speed 7, which is gross. And the Forsaken Beast is keeping pace, and these guys are speed 5. So that was his first turn. There was no shooting. So my first turn. So then on the right-hand side, so facing, I'm actually feeling reasonably good about this side of the board. The reason I'm feeling good about this side of the board is because, yes, the elementals are pretty tough. The plowshares are nothing, right? It's just stuff for me to chew through. He has got heal, and these have got regen as well, so I need to do loads of damage to them quickly. Alright, but they're going to bounce off these slaves for at least a turn and a bit, maybe. This is lethal and horrible. So I should be able to shoot off one of these with the breath attacks, and then get the shock troops, while the shock troops are dealing with these, and then get the shock troops into the other one. That's my plan, right? So that's what I've done. So slaves are on the hill, nothing else is on the hill, and that's where we are on this side. So this side I'm more worried about because this is horrible. This block of knights is just, don't want to face that. So I spent quite a lot of time measuring, and I got my slaves up like this, right? So you can see where they are. And then the blight I moved and turned. The principle of that is that I don't want to be double charged by anything. So it's all front, and he can fit 1 unit of knights here. Yeah. The other one won't fit because there's not enough room. So he's going to have to take 1 unit of knights in there. He's going to have to do something else with the other knights. So let's and then nothing else here can be touched as of yet. Obviously didn't move the claw shots because we're shooting. And then I moved forward the slaves, and I just put the demon behind them. So he's directly behind them like that. Because throwing him away too. So the other move I could have made was to here, but I couldn't get. So 20 would have put me here-ish, and the Elohi could still see me, and then I would die. I could have put him here with the flank like that, right? Because then it's a flank, and they can't charge me, and I'm now looking down here, and you have to do something about that. But I'm playing more cautiously with the demon and seeing if that works for me. So damage, damage-wise, so the claw shots and the demon. I think no, maybe just the demon. Can't remember. Anyway, combined shooting. I think the demon and one or two of the claw shots put 3 damage onto the Elohi over here, and then the other claw shot and the warlock. Everything failed really badly in terms of shooting. So I managed 3 damage on the Elohi and 1 damage on the Forsaken piece. It was bad. I don't want to talk about it. All right, move on. Let's move on to turn 2. So, turn 2. This end of the board just trundled forwards. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So he's trundled forward so that I can only charge one of these units, right? So he's wanting me to charge this one. That's, he's put them up there. Charge my plowshares because, flank town, because surgy time. If I charge this one, hindered, and I can't get into this one, right? But I'm not relying on this unit of slaves to do any damage. That's not what they're there for. They're there for jamming things up. All right, so I'm not going to take that. On this side, so this was a clever move, as you would expect. He is Nick Williams. So this left-hand unit of knights, or is it the right-hand unit of knights? I think the left-hand unit of knights. Oh, right-hand unit of knights came in. Yeah. So the right-hand unit of knights just charge into the slaves to knock them off, which he will do, and then the not plowshares, because then in the gap that they could see through, down to here, the reconnoiterers did a nimble charge, so they turned, came in into the blight. So the idea here is pretty clever, and I should have seen that, but they couldn't do anything about it. These guys will be dead. Next turn, these guys will be dead, and then he can double charge my blight with both knight units. It's fine. I'm actually okay with it because I've got a unit of shock troops here as well, and I've got a demon all the way over there. As long as I can do something about the Elohi, right? So, and then the Elohi jumped down. So I was expecting this, to be honest, because 20 and turning that way, he's out of my line of sight. Right, the demon's facing like that. Yeah. And I'm okay with it because what he wants to do with that is he's going to come into my claw shots. If he wants to spend his super expensive Elohi unit killing 90-point claw shots, I want him to do that all the time. I just want to do it all the time, all day, because this allows my plan here of the slaves to come up to this objective and just sit there. The demon can then sit behind them or in front of them and threaten down here. And then by the time he's chewed through a claw shot, the demon's ready for action. That was my thought. We'll see if that works. So, on to... Right there, so there you go, that's what happened. So 8 wounds onto the slaves from these knights, and they popped, which is, expected, I think, by everyone. But only 2 points of damage from these guys onto the blight, which is actually more than they probably should have got ensnared and hindered, but there you go. Maybe they weren't hindered. Maybe they came that way and in. Shortest route, though. Right, so, to explain. This was being live streamed, and I was, as I've mentioned, had a few drinks. It was very intense. It was a very intense game, largely because off screen over here, this is from the live stream. I've cut and pasted from YouTube. Crowds of people gathered on a regular basis, which put a lot of pressure on. We were chatting, and time got stupid. So I didn't take as many pictures as I would like. So why have I taken this screenshot? I don't know really. Right, I know why. To show you what I did at my turn 2. So as I said, right. So the Elohi were here, right? And I could have shot them, but actually I had a chance here. So although it was hindered, I took a unit of claw shots and charged, right? Because they was in my charge arc and I could. I needed to roll 1/6 on 5 dice to ground them, and then they would be stuck there. So I took that risk because I thought that was a decent risk. Then the slaves as quickly came up and turned 6. And the demon I popped behind them, so the line of sight is like that. So the demon facing, although I know the model is facing that way, but the actual base is like this, which caused some confusion on the live stream. And the reason for that is, hello, flank town, if he doesn't do something about it. So I was quite happy with that. And then obviously I countercharge with the blight here. Right, and that was, I'd got that far. And then on this side, back to, ooh, doesn't it feel nice and clear now? Hey, feels good, right? I risked the yellow belly, and I passed my yellow belly, and I took the slaves into this unit, because I don't care about them doing damage. What I want them to do is to block up, so they blocked up both of these units. And that then allowed me to get all 3 of these guys onto the hill, so they came up like this, and there was a bit of nimble fiddle-faddling, because they're all nimble. So this guy is actually here. So he's got a shot there, and they've all got a nice clear shot onto the water elementals. Right, so I'm reasonably confident that that's going to do a fair amount of damage. I could take them off in a single roll. And then the shock troops are not on the hill. So the worst he can do with his villains is charge one of these war engines. Right. So we did 9 points against my 9 points of damage to the water elementals. It was not enough. Sadly, when they're a -17, I think, so I needed to roll an 8. I did not. So yeah, bad times. However, I did kill off the reconnoiterers. And then I risked an overrun, and I overran 5. A huge overrun right up to the units, which is way more than I wanted. And that's also bad news for me, because when he charges in next turn, so the unit will be here, rather than having a flank opportunity, I've got a front. So it's going to have to be a front charge, which is not as good, it's fair to say. And I didn't roll a 6, I rolled no 6s. So I bounced off the Elohi, which is bad news, because they can now do whatever the hell they want. Turn 3. But the clock by this point, we've had about half an hour. It's turn 3. Madness. He spent some time seeing, because what he wanted to see was actually whether it's possible to get, if these guys move 2.5 that way, and whether he could get the water elementals like to here, because then he just needs a 1-inch surge into the flank. But he didn't get it. He couldn't make it work, so these guys couldn't shift far enough across to allow the water elementals to actually sit there. So instead of that, he took both water elementals into the front of my slave unit, and these guys just stayed there. There's a wide shot showing you kind of where they ended up. And unsurprisingly, both knight units went into my blight. Bad times. So I am snaring, so they're both hitting on, well, this unit's hitting on 3s, this unit's hitting on 4s. They've both got Thunder 2. I'm Defense 3. Forsaken Beast, breath attacked. 10 breath onto my shock troops, 3 damage. So both water elementals only managed 12 damage onto the slaves, and wasn't enough. Couldn't roll, so there will be a 19-21. Now they aren't inspired, because I think I'm not good enough. Oh, maybe they are inspired. I don't think they are. The inspiring guys over there, I think that's more than 6. So luckily he didn't roll the whatever. No, 7. He didn't roll a 7, which was what he needed to waver me. Right, and then so the Elohi jumped over here. Oh no, they didn't jump. They went into the other unit. So there's a unit here, wasn't there? Right. There's a unit of claw shots here, so he just flank charged them, and he rolled all of the dice, bless him, and killed them instantaneously. Not surprising. Still not that bothered. I still kind of just want him to. I want him to kill this one. I need another turn. We'll see. Then he overran. So this is the end of his overrun, which was really bad, because now he can see there. So I really want him to attack this claw shot unit, because now he can see the back of my whatever I've got over there. And there you go. So that's 22 damage onto the blight, and unsurprisingly, being a -22 with the rally, and no inspiring, it died. Wah, wah, wah. So yeah. Right, so onto my turn 3. So I moved all. So I countercharged with the unit of slaves onto this unit of water elementals. I moved my guys forward, a little trio of death. I think the standard bearer is on the hill here, so you can see over them. And we did, what is that? They regened not a lot. I think some of the damage, I can't remember, but I've got them up to 15 damage there. With, that's 40 breath. That's pretty gross. And I got one unit of elementals off, which was great for me. Very, very, very good. That's exactly what I needed to do, and that's my plan. One turn later than I wanted, but it's enough. So here, his villains are here. I've moved my shock troops onto the hill, because with one unit of elementals off, this unit is going to have to spend another turn killing these guys. Unless he can't back away now, so the villains are going to have to either challenge the shock troops or kill a war engine. At which point the shock troops will kill them, and then we're ready for another smash face. So over here, I took the front charge with the demon into one unit of knights, and I took the shock troops into the other unit of knights. Was this sensible? So the reason I did this, I think, was I think the demon should be able to survive a charge. Fatal last words. Fatal last words. Yeah. But the Elohi's line of sight comes like this. The demon can't be rear charged by the Elohi. So this is very risky. And at this point the game was a little bit falling apart for me. So the shock troops did 7 points of damage here. I've got 4. There's a 4 there. But I don't think that's right because the demon killed them. He killed them outright. With a single charge, 13 attacks on 3s and 2s. I know this because... Have we got a screenshot of it? Yeah, I killed them. So maybe they already had 4 damage? Maybe maybe I shot them last turn, on turn 2, with the claw shot to do 4 damage, and this was before I rolled the damage. I can't remember. It's, you know, you can probably zoom in on the live stream if you really care that much. What's important is that the demon killed them, which was ace. Absolutely brilliant. What's that showing you? It's showing you that that's where they are. I don't think it's showing you anything. So I killed them. Yay! And then I backed up 1 inch, which was very risky because I think the line of sight, if I'd have backed up 3, it would have been to the Elohi's line of sight. Backed up 2 would have been okay. I just don't want him to corkscrew. Because if I was where I was, if I just stayed there, he could have gone in. But I chose to back up rather than turn. Don't know why. Just did. Beer. So yeah, so killing the knights was absolutely brilliant. So I've taken off. He's a very elite force. So I've taken off 2 of his units. So I'm really, although things aren't looking brilliant because they're going to take a rear charge, things aren't looking terribly bad because they've got 7 damage. If the shock troops die, which they, I think almost certainly will because rear charge, front charge, right? They're going to absolutely get caned. I think the demons should still be able to take them here. Right, the Elohi will be there, but they're going to get shot up by a lot of stuff still, so they're going to be very much weakened. So if they do manage to kill my demon, who is still undamaged, there's still enough shooting, I think, to take them off. So I'm reasonably okay. So let's take a look at turn 4. So as expected, and this was crunchy. I couldn't really do anything about it. I bounced. I think maybe I overestimated how powerful shock troops were here. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, rear charge, front charge. Bad times. There is no way this unit will survive. Right, so not good. And even worse, he healed all of the damage on the knights. Yeah, 7 damage, all healed from heal 7 or something like that. Maybe there's a dice hiding under here with a 2 on it. I don't know. He healed a lot. And we're on to the live stream because I then ran out of... well, time was running low. Very, very low at this point. I think we had it's turn 4 and we've got 10 minutes left on the clock each. Right? That's nuts. A lot of chatting. Okay, so, and the little circles are here. So Rob's drawn... This is where the objectives are. No, it's not quite right, Rob. It's actually here. Never mind. So this is where the objectives are, right? Just to give people a clue. So I've already showed you this charge here. He countercharged here. The Forsaken Beast is here. I think maybe facing that way. So he tried to breath attack my demon. I don't think he did anything. And this is his Bane Chanter. This is his Surger, right? And healer. So he'd healed here. It looks like all the damage off them, which is gross. The Verlaines, who were here, chose to take out a War Engine because they're very likely to kill a War Engine. They're not going to do a lot to this, right? So they went straight into a War Engine like that. Taking off one of the breath, pretty sensible. Yeah. Yep, so the slaves died from the countercharge. So they had more than 12 damage. I didn't bother putting the dice down because they died. And then he turned like yay. So I've still got 2 War Engines to chaff them up with. We'll see how that goes. Bane Chanter at this point, completely useless. Defense 2 everywhere. So yep, at the end of the turn, well, let's take the right hand side first. So the War Engine he killed and he rotated like this, ready to take the charge from these guys. However, I can still put both of my War Engines in front, so I'm going to win this fight, I think. Even hindered, I think I'm going to win this fight. But you will notice there is a lot of dice here. So Nick, again, insisted on rolling everything, so I'm just like double one it, double one it, double one it. But Nick's style of play is very clean. He holds himself to the highest standard. He's playing a dice game. He wants to roll dice, so he rolled all of them. And I think he did 28 damage or something like that in total, with the knights in the front and the Elohim in the back. And then he rolled a double one. Yes. So I just poured damage dice on top of the unit to show that they are absolutely screwed. Version 3, they'll be devastated, right? Half attacks, very important. Here, not quite as much. That gives me a lovely flank here from the demon and a counter charge here. That is totally game changing. If it hadn't a double wand, I would have had to front charge them and then probably get killed by them. Right, that's not great. But it didn't happen. And I've still got, I've turned this unit round, this unit of claw shots, so I've still got shooting here and here. I've got war engines that can pop over and shoot, and I've got this guy that can lightning bolt. So there's still a lot of damage going to hit the Aloha unit, who are on 4 damage, right? So it's not, it would be very, very close, I think. But that double one means I am in an extremely advantageous position now on turn 4, right? So my turn, I took the charge here, so the shock troops went in, and you know, as predicted, I moved a war engine up here because I want to block and I want to shoot with both of them. I've got my banner bearer here, who's on the hill still, so he can also shoot. I took the flank charge from here to here. I countercharged here, and nothing else moved. But this is me gathering dice to roll. End of the turn then, so this is end of turn 4, the dice says 5 because we're on to Nick's turn 5. The Villains died and my shock troops are here on the hill. Happy with that because that's an objective. There's also an objective here, but I'm ignoring that one. The Knights died from the flank charge from the Demon, which is 3s and 2s, 26 attacks. It's going to happen, I think. It's risky, but I think it's going to happen. However, I did not kill the Aloha. I did 9 damage and I couldn't roll because they're dash 18, I want to say. I couldn't roll 9 twice. However, they are not flying. They're going to have to kill this unit, and then the demon, and all my shooting. Pa-pow! 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 Whatever's left here. Meow. Yeah, this game is looking good for me. So turn 5 for Nick. So he took the charge here into the war engine. The Forsaken Beast turned here to shoot the demon. And the Elohi went back into the shock troops to finish them off with a clear double one. He still rolled the dice, ladies and gentlemen. He is that stringent on himself. Bless him. And I was, it's probably worth saying at this point, I just adore the man because he played me in hot pants. And he's just great. And he allowed me to do some shady things that I probably shouldn't have done. Because he did make me roll all my dice, I will say that. But a couple of times I maybe forgot to move. I think it was actually the next turn. I think turn 6, I forgot to move the Warlock. And he let me. Which, if he was holding to me to the stringent rules he was holding himself, he shouldn't have done. But that's how nice he is. So, yep. So, end of that turn. And this was absolutely critical. So, he killed this war engine and then turned them off here, which is fine. And then he moved his adjutant, the guy with the banner, in front of the shock troop unit. So I can't charge his water elementals. I have to charge the adjutant. But it's a shock troop unit. He's going to die, and I'm going to back up, and it's turn 5, right? So I've got this objective. If he backs up far enough, he can get this objective. But I've got 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and he's got 2 scoring units. But he turned his Alohi, right? Because his plan, I've killed the shock troops, I'm going to fly here and kill these guys. Yeah? But this is a demon, and he's facing, well, whoopsie daisy. So his base is like that. So that's flankety flank. And this is how clean of a player Nick was. So he'd rolled something. No, he hadn't rolled anything. He completed the move, right? And I said, Nick, you've left yourself a flank here. Look, there's a flank. And he wouldn't change it. He said, well, no, I've done it now. He said, I've done it. And maybe he was drunk a bit, I don't know. But I just thought, That's too stringent. You've been too stringent on yourself there, because you've given us, you know, I'm going to flank you with a demon, and they've got 9 damage. It's, I mean, even if I fronted you with a demon, it's not good. But well, it is what it is. He did, you know, I'm not going to tell somebody how to play, especially not somebody like Nick. But I think that was a little bit too stringent. But there you go. He's a very nice man. So on my go, as expected, I went in here. This is my turn 5. Look, I'm mid-roll. Ooh, there you go. I move this guy in front, and I move the standard bearer off to the side, so I've still got 20 breath onto them. I took the flank with the demon, and I think I have a shot at his Forsaken Beast here. I don't. Oh, I think maybe I have a shot like that. There, so there's 2 shots there. And these guys are going to shoot them. Yeah. So, and we're going to get back to some proper pictures soon from this blurry nightmare, I promise. But we literally, this is up to turn 6 now, and I had absolutely no time. I had 5 minutes on the clock. Less than that, actually. On my turn 6, which is the next time, I had 2 minutes to do the whole turn 6. So yeah, the Elohi died. I didn't manage to kill these guys, so you can see they're on double digits. I can't remember what it was. The live stream isn't clear enough to scroll in. So I didn't manage to kill the elementals. I did manage to kill the adjutant, and I backed up 2. So I'm now secure on this objective, and I'm not going anywhere. So yeah, that was my turn 5. On to Nick's turn 6. Wow, look! Crystal clarity becomes ours. So the water elementals have charged into that war engine, and he's moved his Forsaken Beast up. Did he? I thought he charged. To be honest, maybe he's holding the objective. Maybe he's shot. Well, that's just showing you the end of the last turn where I fell off, right? So that's the Elohi dead, and that's it. So water elementals went into the weapon team and killed it, and then backed up. So he needed to back up a bit further, I think. But what he measured was whether that was 12. But if he'd have backed, I think he's still out of reach of that thing. Yeah, it did charge. So there's that. Maybe that's 3. I think that probably, it looks 3-ish, doesn't it? Measurable, anyway. But he took the charge with the Forsaken Beast here into my demon. 3 damage. So not great. And then at the end of the game, so I think I countercharged, but I didn't kill it. Yeah. This is towards the end of the game now. So at the end of the game, I have this objective. I have this objective. Right, and let's just show you the rest. So I think there you go. 1 point of damage, maybe 1 or 2. Not enough to kill him, certainly. And that was the move that I made on my turn 6. So I moved the Warlock out of turn, which it was very kind to let me do, because I had 10 breath, 5 lightning bolt. I didn't kill them. So irrelevant, although kind. So I have 1, 2, 3, and Nick maybe has 1. I think he has 1. I think we did say 1. So 3-1. So the result was a 3-1 to me. So a Ratkin victory. And it's fair to say that nobody, especially me, expected that. No one expected me to beat Nick. And Nick was incredibly gracious, frankly, about it. And, you know, he said, well played, which was really, really nice of him. The double 1 really was absolutely crucial. Without the double 1, I think it would have been incredibly close. I think I had enough shooting to take off the Elohi, and I still would have clinched it. But it would have been much closer. Much, 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 much closer. Much more dicey. I just think, you know, luck came into it a lot, and I didn't make any mistakes. I have been practicing a lot with this army, and despite the inebriation of me and my opponent, I didn't make any mistakes. Nick did make mistakes, but the mistakes he made weren't. I don't think necessarily would have changed the course of the battle. I just got the rolls I needed. Rats in this scenario have a massive advantage over Brotherhood. Brotherhood are outmatched on this kind of token-based scenario. They are a less strong army in version 2. So those factors all played in, but I think I played well. So I was really pleased. And to give you an idea of how mad the clock was, we were playing at 100 miles an hour towards the end. That's Nick clock on the lesser. He had a minute 30. I had 29 seconds left on the clock. That is as close as it comes. I've never rolled dice so fast in all my life. Yeah. So, with that said, let's move on to game 2. Game 2 was the next day. So, game 2 was Ratkin versus Ratkin. Aha! It was a Ratkin off. This is Simon Clifford's Ratkin. Simon, he lives in Scotland. He has been winning pretty much everything. In fact, there is a tournament they run in Scotland called, I think it's called King in the North brackets. Can anyone beat Simon? So, So this was his Ratkin. You obviously it's my Ratkin. Remember I talked about like optimized Ratkin lists and how we're getting close to optimized? I think this might be the list that I would want to take if I could be bothered to paint it, which I can't. So 4 hordes of tunnel slaves, 3 hordes of shock troops, right? All no items. 2 death engines with the Vile Sorcery upgrade that gives an 18-inch piercing to attack. 3 weapon teams with piercing, same as me. A Warlock with Bane Chant Inspiring, same as me. And 2 Swarm Criers. So these ones he's given the Loot to and the Flying Hammer to. So it's not quite the list I would take, I think, maybe. I do like my claw shots. The death engines are good, but I can't. I'm teetering around with what models to use if I was going to do death engines, and I've not practiced with them, so I don't know. Swarm Criers, I mean, yeah, I'd probably take the Breath over the Loot. I have taken the Breath over the Loot in my list, but I get the list. I mean, he played Dan King the night before and trashed him. So this is trash meta taken to the utter extreme. I would say Simon is one of the nicest people I've possibly ever met. What a dude. He is just a dude. So this was the battlefield. What I'll do, right, so obviously we've deployed here because I forgot to take a picture. My pictures in this one are a lot more complete. And we weren't live streamed or anything this time, so you'll have to make do with my pictures. So, the battlefield was a piece of flat terrain, so there's a flat lake in the middle, which is the only piece of flat terrain I saw the entire tournament, worth saying. 2 height 2 hills, 2 height 4 forests, and 3 height 4 blocking terrain, and then I think there's a wall under his army up there, but there's definitely a wall down there because I can see it, and I think there's a wall under his army because there's like a gap and I forgot to put a pen on. So I can see his unit up like that, so I think there's either a piece of flat terrain or something under there anyway, but we don't fight there anyway because the scenario is dominate. So dominate is the one where you have to be wholly within 12 inches of the center, so imagine a circle like that. You don't want to face a horde army in dominate. The idea of 2 giant horde armies in dominate is just hilarious. I mean, it's ridiculous, but very fun. So, hands down, one of the funniest games. So let's take a look at deployment. And I remember to take photos of the turn dice. So this is the last one of these giant screens with the word "Go turn 1" that you'll probably see. So even better than 2 Ratkin forces is the fact that we were both using Mantic minis. A full Mantic off, right? It's only that I've just customized mine to make it a bit more fancy, where he's just painted up the Vermin that I've used in my force. Okay, so he color-coded them to make it easy, which I think is genius. The green and yellows are slaves. Okay, so these green and yellows are all slaves. The reds are shock troops. Easy, right? So we have slave, shock troop. I think that's the warlock. Death engine, death engine. So he's used the same models for death engines that I've used for my weapon teams, but he's not problem. Obviously, he's used different attachments. So these are the rumbler platforms from the Vermin. So then, second unit of slaves, third unit of slaves. Oh no, hang on, this is the that's the loot guy. That's his warlock. Yeah, and that is a wall under there. I am a genius. Yeah, because you can see the card saying Inspiring Talisman. That's another whatever it's called. Shock troops. Weapon team, weapon team, weapon team. So he's used the Vermin Nightmares for weapon teams, which I think is a pretty cool idea. And then Tunnel Slave, Tunnel Slave. There's the guy with the loot. And then Shock Troop, Shock Troop. So if I skip back to the deployment picture. Whatever. Right. you can see, so slave, 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 shock troop, shock troop, shock troop, weapon team, no, not weapon team, sorry, death engine, 3 weapon teams, and he's got his flying, inspiring, flying hammer guy, loot guy, warlock. Simple deployment, because it's a simple army and it's a simple objective. So I'd probably do that too. So on my side, facing that, so on the right, I put the demon all the way out on the right, and obviously I had to put him last because his stuff is all in the middle. I want to flank him, right? Sensible. I've got my little troop of death here, so there's a slave unit with the standard bearer and the 3 weapon teams. And then we've got slaves. Behind the slaves, I've got shock troops and blight. Yeah, so this is kind of the punchy core of my army, just deployed like that. I've got my weapon teams deployed here, not weapon teams, claw shots, because I want to just get shots all game across here, 36-inch range, you know, and I'll probably just be targeting the death engines because they're height 4, so no cover. And then, and on the right hand side, these are the Pathfinder shock troops, and this is the warlock here, and these are the other slaves. So, I could have done it with this picture. Oh, no, this is his first move, I think that's why. He's just trundled everything forwards, which is hilarious. The reason I put the Pathfinder shock troop is obviously because I've got a lake here and a wood here, so I want to be able to go pretty strong. So his turn 1, everything trundled forwards, nothing can shoot. I go. So, oh no, something can shoot. What shot me? Something outrageously has shot me. Oh, maybe that's the lightning bolt. And maybe the flying hammer onto these slaves. 3 points of damage. They're okay. So my turn 1. So the demon obviously shot all the way down here. Because now I'm threatening here. And that is gross. You don't want that. And everything else has, you know, copied him entirely and trundled forwards. Apart from my claw shots, who I've still got a line of sight here. So on the right hand side, I've moved and turned. So I've got my slaves who've also taken 2 damage. Oh no, that's not 2, that's just a dice. And the shock troops behind them. Right. So I focused fire everything I could, reach onto the front unit of slaves because I couldn't shoot anything else for the time being. 10 points of damage, which is great, but not enough. And I think a couple of the claw shots got a line of sight onto this death engine. 3 points of damage, nothing doing. On to turn 2. So. Right, so in this case, so he's moved forward. So he's moved these slaves forward with the death engines behind them. And he's shuffled his 3 weapon teams over here because obviously my demon is off to the right here. What he doesn't want is me to fly around here or anything within 18 inches. These can do a hell of a lot of damage. If he just turns that 30 breath, there's a ton of attacks from the Vile Sorcery guys. They could turn, they take movement penalty, but they'd still be able to do some damage. And the Warlock, it wouldn't be pretty for the Demon. And he's turned a shock troops just to kind of, obviously, not get flanked. And these guys are out of line of sight. So pretty sensible move, and everything else trundled forward on the right here, because the plan here is just to overwhelm me with numbers, which I think is really sensible. And they're all rallied, of course. 2 rallying across everything. Brilliant. Love it. Flying Hammer put an extra point of damage onto my slaves, but they're okay. And then one of the death engines targeted this weapon team, 3 points of damage, but he couldn't roll the break. Because, of course, I am... Am I rallied? I don't think I'm rallied. Sound of me pushing buttons. I am rallied. Ta-da! And inspired. So he couldn't roll to break me, which is great. So then my turn 2. So the demon deciding, so I was over here, facing this way. Don't really want to face all that. That's not nice. So instead I'll just pop around here. Because now I can offer, if anything happens here, I can jump in this flank. Right, it's good. I think that's a good tactic. You may disagree with me. Tough. He also shot my standard bearer, it's worth saying, with the death engine. So 1 death engine went on this guy, 3 damage. 1 on this guy, 3 damage. Couldn't break either of them, which was very lucky for me. My dice were very, very good in this game. And actually pretty much the whole tournament, my dice were ridiculous. So, demon moved down like that. This slave unit, I don't want to charge because why bother? They're way higher nerve than me. I'm not going to do anything, so I just moved up and turned. So what I would like him to do is to flank with that one, but I don't think he will because he's sensible. And in here with that one, which is fine because then I've got all this breath ready to go still because he hasn't managed to kill anything. The other unit of slaves just moved up like this with these guys behind. So these guys moved up. This is, whoa, that's about 12. Right, so the idea is that I'll be able to charge next turn if it happens. I'm constantly, the beauty of his army, and it is great, is that it doesn't matter what you kill here. The stuff that's going to kill you is here. Right, so whatever you kill, something's going to hit you, and that's not fun for anyone. And yeah, and also apologies for the lots of portrait photos in this, which isn't great. So the warlock is here. I'm not sure what I'm doing there. I think I'm trying to lightning bolt something. These guys moved on to here, and this is the same principle. I've got Pathfinder. Once he's killed me, something's going to die, but then these guys will come in. But they'll be hindered, so I might survive that exchange. So shooting this turn, I upped... Oh, this is after the turn. How exciting. Yeah, I took these photos just after his turn, right? So we put them up to 13 damage with some shooting. It wasn't enough to break them, which is poo. And we got 10 damage onto the death engine with lightning bolts, and so double lightning bolt, one from the demon and one from the warlock, and the rest of the shooting. Couldn't roll the break, which is tough on me. There you go. So turn 3. So both slaves went in, and I think we forgot to roll yellow bellies. Doesn't really matter. There you go. So both slaves went into slaves. Slave off, slave on slave action there. And everything else just kind of trundled forward. So he chose not to take this charge. He just trundled forward, which I think is kind of interesting. So he wants me to take the charge. He's kind of biding his time, I guess. He wants to not lose units at the early. Whoa, what's happened there? Did I go in? No, that's me facing... Don't know. Not really sure. Oh, right. Because there was another slave unit over here, wasn't there? Right. So there's 2 slave units. Right, I'm with you. Back in the room. Back in the room. So the middle 2 slave units took the charge onto my slaves. Right. On the left-hand side, the same thing. Right-hand side, he didn't charge. So the left-hand side took the charge onto this slave unit. Okay. And then shooting. He did 7 damage onto this weapon team from probably from a death engine, I should imagine. What did he do with these things? Right, so yeah, because the demon's now down there, he's moved this back to plan A, I suppose, with his shock troops. So he's moved them up behind the slaves. And then the weapon teams have gone here, here, and here, right? So he's just keeping his like unit of death nightmare here. So yeah, 7 damage from... I'd probably say one of the death engines, because I'm not sure that the weapon teams could see, which took off one of my weapon teams. So I'm down 10 breath. Ooh. Unsurprisingly, this slave unit died. How much damage did it take? Don't know, but they died from being attacked by slaves. Slave on slave. The horde of slave beat the regiment of slaves. Feeling rather exposed there, but then 11 damage from 2 hordes of slaves into a horde of slave. 11 damage, didn't break them. So then we got really silly. So this is ridiculous. So this is my yellow belly roll here, which is a 6. So slaves and shock troops into this slave unit. Shock troops into this slave unit. Counter charge from these slaves. And blight into this slave unit. So you can imagine this battlefield is silly. This is just ridiculous. Ha! And then my breath stuff move around the side here because I want to start picking away at this unit here. So the claw shots put 15 damage onto this death engine. I'm not sure what's done 1 point of damage there, but maybe a claw shot or something. The breath attacks did 7 points of damage onto that shock troop unit, which is a great start. Big fan. Death engine died. Ta-da! They did not die. They feel great. I feel less great, but there you go. Shock troops killed the slave unit in the front here, in the middle. And we killed the other slave unit. So, great. We've cleared the slaves out. I think I've got 9 damage here from this slave on slave action, so I didn't kill them. But now I've got shock troop and shock troop. The difficulty is the angle, right? So from this angle, he can't get this unit in here because this is one horde width exactly. So to get in there, you need to at some point be able to turn so you're exactly facing it. You can't from here. Even if you shift these slaves really far over, to get in, you're going to have to come forwards to here. You can't. Basically, you can't. We worked it out. You can, if you turn them, to come forward and then turn them like that, right? So it's going to go like that. And come in, you can touch them, but you're overlapping the unit here. It's not possible. You'd end up like that. And that's more than 3. Less than 3 rather, so they can't shift out. They just can't get out of the way. Which I was very pleased about. So on my reform, I turned like this. So offering him a charge here, and he can charge me here hindered. I think I can survive that. I hope I can survive that. Let's see. I don't know. How's my demon ended up over there? So I obviously hopped my demon over here again. Just playing tic-tac-toe. Oh, right, and that's what lightning... So I lightning bolted a weapon team with the demon. So the demon went back over there. Lightning bolt onto this weapon team. 1 point of damage. Rubbish. So again, he's had to turn his unit here. This is his warlock with inspiring. This is his loot guy, as you can see from the card, helpfully placed there. However, you know, this is rear charge territory, so this is quite fun for me. So, shooting from his weapon team that was there has 5% damage onto my standard bearer, but only wavered him, which is great. He is rallied, so that helped us. He couldn't roll the brakes, which is not good. So, right, slave on slaves. These are slaves, yep. So finally, 11 points of damage. Finally managed to kill my slaves, which isn't great. Have I... Did Blight woofed? I can't remember. I've missed something. I'm so sorry. Right. 9 points of damage from the Blight onto a horde of slaves. And I couldn't roll the break. I think possibly I was coming over a wall. So that's why. Because I was hitting on 5s. That's okay. He can't kill me because I'm ensnaring. Oh, look! Some live fingering action there. So he shoved his banner bearer right in front of this unit, so I have to kill him. Yeah, because these shock troops have killed the slaves that were here, and these guys have gone in here. Right, that looks like that's what's happening. So, despite being ensnared, so hitting on 6s, he's got my blight up to 8 damage, which is gross. Right. So this is my... I've missed off a turn dice. I'm sorry. Maybe I should have done the things. Whatever. It's now my turn 3, 4, something. We'll come to a turn dice in a minute and then we'll find out. It'll be an exciting adventure together. So what he's got left here, because I've managed... He's got 2 weapon teams here. He's got a weapon team here. Yeah? But this death engine is putting out some punishment. It's causing me some issues. So I choose to take the flank here. I'm hitting on 4s, but it's 26 on 4, so I'm probably going to kill it. So that base is where the demon is. I can stand it up on this forest base. Obviously, come back in here. What else has happened? So we've taken this charge here because we want to overrun into the flank of the slaves, which would be lovely. And that's right. So right, yes, this is what happened here. So his shock troops last turn, 15 points of damage despite being hindered on 5. So I'm saying his dice weren't good enough. Bloody hell. So 25 attacks on 5s and 3s. And he still managed to do 15 points of damage, which is kind of gross rolling. And he wavered me, so that's a waver token there. So I've just backed up 3. The reason I've backed up 3 is that I'm going to lose this unit, but I want him out of 12 for as long as possible. So my charge here, so I've charged the Blight in, I've killed the slaves that were very hardy, and I've turned. So that his shock troops now over here are completely wasted. And I moved my standard bearer out of the way of his stuff, so line of sight was going to be an issue. Whoa! Whoa! Sorry about that. Line of sight is going to be an issue. So this is a hill, he can't see anything, so I'm hiding and I'm still inspiring the Blight. I think I've weapon teamed there onto this weapon team. I've done 2 points of damage and not killed it. Uh-oh! So, yep, demon killed the war engine, overran. I've got a horde facing this way because I've killed his standard bearer. He's got a horde facing this way. They're on 5 damage from all the claw shots, which have been picking things off. This is the centre of the board. Any minute now we're going to find out what turn we're on. That'll be exciting, won't it? I've already shown you that, but I've taken another picture, which is very exciting. Why? So, he has moved his little warlock and his weapon team here. And he has put his standard bearer in front of the blight because he's trying to stop me getting into the centre. I think we turn 5. I'd say turn 5. He took a hindered charge from the shock troops there into my shock troops. I'm on 10 damage. Is that after the charge or before the charge? Before the charge, I'm on 10 damage. We don't like that. Right, my units are heavily wounded. So this is the center token. He's got a horde. He's got a horde. So he's turned his other horde around and he's brought his weapon teams over to try and finish off the job. So rather than engage with the taking the bait and charging over there, he said no thanks. He's turned like that. So he's turned fully and he's brought his weapon teams over to try and finish the job. Which they did. Right? Blew them off the map. However, the Warlock and the other weapon team only did 1 point of damage onto my weapon team. They did waver him though. So he's out. Boo. So the hindered charge put me from 10 damage to 15 damage. And didn't kill me. So he didn't roll the break. Brilliant news for me. Because I've got a demon right here. Right? So he's bounced. This is the center token. Horde, demon. Wap, wap, wap. So you can see here on the edge of the thing. So I've gone in here. So my standard bearer has jumped from here. I've gone 12. So I've gone 12 all the way over here because I want to stop them running through. Yeah, there's the other shock troops that have turned around. He's wavered, so he's backed up in case there's a turn 7. Which is a bit pointless. I think I've gone as far as I can, but he can still just turn and blow me off, so to speak. So I've gone into them. I'm still shooting things with claw shots. So little pips of damage picking up. That's 3 on there, but I couldn't break him. And then I took the charge. So I took the charge here onto the standard bearer, and I took the counter charge and the flank charge into these shock troops. Great. He has, however, got another whole shock troop horde here. What did I do with them? So here's my withers. That's just showing you that they're there. Which one are they? Right. Yes. Here's where it got really interesting. How did I do 12? 16 damage? 16 damage onto a shock troop horde. How? Were they damaged already? I mean, this happened. It was, you know, there was a lot of games that we played. It's fair to say they're undamaged. What have I got? I can do 16 damage. A warlock? He's only got 5 attacks. Maybe I claw-shotted them. Almost certainly claw-shotted them. He's out. Standard bearer's out. Demon's attacking. That's mental. Okay. So. These guys died. Definitely. Because look at them. So it looks like 5 lightning bolt from the warlock and 15 shots from the claw shots did 16 damage, which is just ridiculous. So 16 damage, and I wavered them. I'm not sure it was that high. We definitely wavered them. That's a lot of dice. It's possible, off of 20 hits to do 16 damage. Pretty unheard of. 4s and 2s? 4s and 3s. Well, it happened. And then, yep, so we killed that unit. I'm slightly perplexed still. I don't think it was 16 damage. I think it was possibly less than that. But I wavered them anyway, which was great, because then they're stuck and they can't charge in. Hurrah! Obviously, we killed this standard bearer, and then we overran a bit, but not enough, so I'm slightly out of 12 there. We overran the demon, and we kept the horde here, right? Which probably wasn't sensible. I think I overran him to get him within 12, maybe. Yeah. And that's the end of the game. I'm still perplexed by the 16 damage. Mad that, innit? Crazy. Well, it happened because there's photographic evidence. And there wasn't any... Maybe the wounds were off somewhere else before. Did they have some wounds? I think maybe I'd been claw shot before and the wound counter was somewhere else. Let's just skip back. Let's have fun together. It's fun, isn't it? Are you enjoying this? I'm not enjoying this. I am enjoying this a little bit, actually. Oh, there you go. Look. Oh, no, that's the ones that were hindered. There you go. Look, there's their wounds. Okay, it's not quite so mad. That's not them. That's the other one. There they are, undamaged. Crazy times. It happened. So we wavered them. End of game shot. Coming up is here. So 12 is like that. So it is a 4-2-3 victory because these guys haven't got any unit strength. And a racking victory to me. Still perplexed. I might have to send him a message because I don't understand how I did that. Maybe I did. That would be legendary. Crazy times. We definitely wavered them. Maybe it was double 6 or just a really high roll. I can't remember anyway. So another victory to me. Hurrah! So exciting. And unprecedented. Really fun game. And he was very, very just a really good bloke throughout the entire thing. Yeah. So I'd won 2 in a row. So now I was going to face someone that was really like devastatingly good as opposed to just really good. Creeping up towards the top tables. Very scary. A scary place for me to be, as I'm sure you can imagine. So yeah, sorry that wasn't that clear and I didn't take photos. I got much better at taking photos of turn dice through the tournament as I remembered more. So apologies for that being a little bit confusing. I've sent a text to Simon to say, how did that happen at the end? Maybe he'll come back. Maybe I'll let you know as I'm recording these later on. So apologies for that. It will get better, I promise. So with that said, let's go on to game 3. Okay, game 3 versus the Twilight King. Now, due to the magic of how we record stuff, or I record stuff, and things, some time has passed since I record. I say some time; it's been a few hours since I recorded the game 2. Simon's replied to my text. He says apparently I just rolled out the box for that last roll, so it's kind of that's very much the story of those 2 games that I just rolled really well and managed to knock it out of the park for that final roll, which turned it from a draw to a win for me. So hurrah for me. There you go. Lucky me. So game 3 versus the Twilight King. So this is one of the Spanish teams. So the Spanish team were hugely strong at Clash of Kings UK. With 8 of them. And they bought some pretty gross lists. And this was one of them. So this is my opponent. So this is the only Mantic Twilight King image that I have off their Kickstarter ages ago. And this was so the guy I was playing was called Mario. There's 2 Marios. This was not the Dwarf Mario with all his Brook Riders. This was Chariot Mario. And you'll see why I call him Chariot Mario. So his list was 1 horde of crossbowmen with the Heart-Seeking Chant, 6 regiments of Dark Side Chariots. Let's just say that again. 6 regiments and a horde. Because you've got 6 regiments, what do you need? A horde with Nimble. Of course you do. And 2 Dark Lords and Black Dragon, 1 with Brew of Haste, and 1 with Veil of Shadows and a Whip of Celerity. That's the whole list. And he was a really passionate guy, Mario Pinos, his name was. And really passionate guy. And I said to him, dude, your list is kind of a dick list. And he went, I know. You tell me my list. It is awful. I know. You don't have to tell me. I'm nice. He was kind of funny. Anytime anything bad happened, he would like swear for about 10 minutes in Spanish. So yeah, he knew what he was doing. with this list, and he was here to win. So let's see how we did. So this was the layout. I'll come on to deployment shortly. And we had one of the weirdest boards, which kind of works for me. So we came into the board, and I'll go through the board quickly first. So there was 2 height 4 forests in the middle. There was a height 2 hill over here. And then 5, count them, 5 pieces of blocking terrain. And they were kind of really weird. So, oh, I've lost my pen again. Hang on, pen. So this one was kind of, it's all kind of been pushed together. This one is just kind of too weird. We don't know if those figures were supposed to originally be on top of this thing here. So I went to Matt Gilbert, the TO, and I went, hey Matt, I think our table's been pushed around a bit. Could you reset it for us? And he went, yeah, just ask the people on the table next to you to do it. I was kind of like, what? So anyway, we came back and we kind of went, do you know what? We'll just live with it. This weird table. So the scenario we were playing was loot with 3 tokens. So the 3 tokens were placed here, here, and here. And I ummed and ahed about should we reset. And actually, I think it kind of works for me because what you get, I'm facing all shooting, right? This isn't all. So his list is, the intention is shoot me off the board. That's what he's done, and that's what he's done in his previous 2 games. He just shoots people off the board. And I looked at this table and I thought, well, I've got a big piece of blocking, a big, well, cover here, right? And then we've got blocking, 5 blocking terrains. Actually, that kind of works for me, if I'm honest. And there's some really weird. So Mario placed this loot token here on this side. This space, so the edge of the board is literally, it's here. You can't fit a horde here at all, right? There's no horde you can fit through there. Equally, you can't fit a horde through here, right? So actually, in some ways, it's a nightmare for me because I can't fight on the right hand side of the board at all. But equally, for him, this is pretty terrible because he's not going to be able to get any clear shots on me for most of the game. He's going to be rolling 5s and 6s most of the game, and that kind of works for me, so I kind of went with it. I think he chose sides. Yeah, so he chose the top. So you see he's deployed. Let's just go through where he's deployed and we'll pop back. So this is the 1st Regiment of Chariots over here on the left. Excuse all the beer and everything. And also the table next to us. I think that's what that is. This is the edge of the table. So he's just on the left-hand side here. So he's looking down the side. So bear in mind, right, my strategy here is I'm not bothering with this token. I need 2 tokens to win. And I'm not bothering with this one on the right at all. My strategy is I'm going to get these 2. I'm going to get these 2 and I'm going to hold them. So I need to get forward, grab the tokens, and just back away from his nightmare shooting hordes of horrible. Okay. So he's put these ones out on the left. I don't really care about this one because they can come round fine, but actually I can probably mitigate that. And hey, there he is. All right, Mario. Caught mid thing. So here's a Regiment of Chariots. Here's a Regiment of Chariots. And this is one of his dragons. I think this is the Veil of Shadows dragon. And then he's got his Horde of Archers here in the middle. Note the... I'm not going to complain about the models, but wow. Wow. So there you go. Here's a Regiment of Chariots. This is the Nimble Horde. So you can see, again, he's chosen this side, but actually this is kind of crap for him. I'm glad I didn't have that side. It would be really hard for me to deploy in this area. And on the right, the final Regiment of Chariots. Oh, sorry, 2 regiments. Just one here and one here, and a dragon. So when he was deploying, he's obviously deploying to go and get that token. I don't care. So he's got one of his dragons and 2 of his chariots on a side that I'm not even going to contest with. That limits the options. So I was quite happy with that, how that went. All right. So then on my side, so that's the left of here is where the token is. I'm not even bothering. Right. So I've got my horde of slaves. There's the warlock hiding behind them to inspire everything. And I've got a claw shot unit here, and these are the Pathfinder shock troops, so they can come into the woods. The reason there is just 1 claw shot there is because I couldn't fit them, which is bad deployment. I deployed the slaves and everything, and the blight before I deployed the claw shots last because I wanted to get the best kind of a choice with them. So what I wanted, if I come back to this, what I wanted is for the claw shots to get a shot down here, right? So this I want them to. So this is where I originally wanted them to kind of just sweep this bit, so I can get a huge line of sight with my 36-inch range. but I deployed slightly wrong, so I couldn't fit all 3 in, so I put them on either side of this big piece of terrain here. Okay, so that's where they are, and then I've got my slave regiment. This is the banner guy with his diadem. I've got Blight and shock troops with Headstrong here. And on the right hand side, so this is where I've got my 3 weapon teams and my slaves, and then the demon out on the right. So let's go back to the wide shot again. So what I've got here is this regiment of chariots. What I really want to do is just to get to charge. I can knock them out in one go. I think a demon can take a regiment of chariots on its own with no shooting support. I've got my kind of shooting battery, my breath battery. What I want to try and get them onto this hill here and just obliterate everything that comes to this token. Okay, and then for this token, I want him to come forward with his stuff to try and get the token, and then the claw shots can kind of decimate them, and I can just come in with either these shock troops or these shock troops into the middle, right? That's my strategy, and I'm completely. It's going to take him a while to get this and to kind of get around here, and he's probably going to use that chariot regiment or wherever it is to try and get rid of the claw shots down here. That's fine. I'm happy for him to do that as long as I can get hold of those 2 tokens. But what I needed was first turn. All right. So that's where we were. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Steady on. Right. So I didn't get first turn. Basically, is what I'm saying. So this is the end of my deployment. He got first turn. And then, so the first thing he did was to move these chariots forward. So my 20-inch range finishes about here. So that's normal and sensible. And then he kind of, so these chariots moved up here. These ones moved up here. And the archers moved forward a little bit. So the archers, he's doing with the archers what I'm trying to do with the claw troops, which is just covering this center zone. And then he jumped his dragon straight onto the token immediately. He's like, I'm having that with a dragon. Defense 5. So he's using his dragon like chaff. So he's got shooting arc, shooting arc, shooting arc, yeah? And these are his nimble chariots, so they're kind of facing down this way. And then so he sent his 2 chariots down this side to grab this token, which I don't care about. What's interesting is that this gap here, and we found this out only when he tried to do it, is not wide enough to fit a chariot regiment through. So when these guys turn to go down here, they are not going to be able to fit. However, he's pushed his dragon forward, just out of range. What's he throwing about there? Not sure. There's nothing I can do to threaten him there. I think he just moved him down, so I think he moved him 10 so he could do some lightning bolts onto some units. That's what he's for. Okay. So, the combined shooting on 5s and 3s and 4s. So that's right, the dragon lightning bolted down here. So he's trying to get rid of my warlocks. He's trying to get rid of the ranged threat. 3 points of damage, didn't manage to kill him. All the other shooting that he had shot into, that he could see, shot into this slave unit. 8 points of damage, which is a lot, even shooting on 5s and 6s. But fortunately, didn't manage anything. Alright, so then my go. Claw shots onto this unit. And guys, he was using tokens. Please use dice. Please use dice. So in this particular case, I think red ones are 5, anything else is 1, I think. Anyway, so I think 2 points of damage from the claw shots onto this chariot regiment. Obviously didn't manage to kill them or anything. Couldn't see, so I think either a lightning bolt or, yes, a lightning bolt from the warlock to these ones is 1 point of damage. And then 4 points of damage. So no, sorry, warlock and 1 claw shot that could see. Managed to do 4 points of damage to this dragon. Ooh, hello. Onto this dragon, which I think is great. That's a really good start for me to get 4 points into a dragon, so happy with that. Okay, so on to turn 2 for the Twilight Kin scum that they are. Also, I moved my slave unit up. Everything moved up, basically. I just pushed forwards, which is sensible, so I didn't take any pictures of that. So turn 2. So he moved this chariot regiment down to grab the token, so he now has 1 token. Whoa! Do it again. He has 1 token. And he's kind of just moved his dragon sideways, so he's out of some line of sight and he can offer some threat. That seems sensible. And he's turned this chariot unit to come down here. He has yet to find out that he can't actually fit through. That's kind of fun. And then so he's taken the token with this dragon and he's just backed up. So he's backed up 2.5 because he can only move 5 now and he can't fly. Nothing else has moved. He's very happy to leave these guys here because, of course, what he wants to do is, he wants me to do is to move my units into the firing line of doom. All right, he wants to be shooting on 4s. He wants to destroy me. That's just showing where the nimble chariots are. So did they move? Yeah, they were there before, just in front of the forest, and they haven't. Oh, they moved back actually. I know what they've done. So I've moved my slave unit forward here, so I'm tipping into the woods, right? So this, whoops. So this, and this is out of 12. He doesn't want to risk me charging into any of his units, even if it's with slaves, which suck. So then I've obviously moved my slaves up here last turn, and the shooting from the units that are there and the units that are here have put 7 damage onto them. Okay. He's also managed 1 damage onto my demon, by the way, which is up here behind a slave unit. There you go, 1 damage, see? And he's done so he carried on lightning bolting my warlock, who is now on 5 damage and still didn't die. However, the remaining shooting took my slaves up to 16 points of damage, which killed them. So that's, you can see the unit was here, tapping into the woods, is no longer here. Wah, wah, wah. Oh well, not unexpected. So my turn 2, I pushed these guys forward and again towed into the woods, because what I want to do is offer threat. So this is practically exactly the same position the slaves were in, except I don't need to yellow belly. So again, I can offer a charge. Not that I could fit here. So I can't threaten the dragon because I just can't fit here. But I definitely could charge into the other guys on these side. And these guys have got Pathfinder, so that is quite a threat. And I've moved up here as well. So you can see from the range here that I've offered the slaves. I've said, yeah, charge the slaves. Go on, crack on. I want you to. I want you to come in here and charge my slave unit. But of course, charging is not what his army is here to do. It's here to shoot. And I've got the demon behind us. Demon can't be charged and is offering a 20-inch threat here, here, and here. One that he cannot escape from. I've got my little shooting battery here, so I would obviously have come here to focus all of my shooting onto this dragon. And what's interesting is I've positioned them. How have I positioned them? So I positioned them so he couldn't see in some way. Now, why would I do that? I think I want him to. That's right. So he can't charge this unit and he can't charge this unit because of the way they're positioned. He can't charge this guy. Maybe he can charge that guy. I think he can charge both this guy and this guy with his dragon. Yeah, but he needs to drop the token to do so. So he's not going to do that realistically. So I've got my slaves right in the front, and everyone's packing up. So you can see last turn, or this turn perhaps, but on his turn, he's done 5 damage from these chariots and the archers onto my blight, despite them being ensnaring and in cover. So shooting on 6s, he still managed to do that much damage, which is kind of testament to how strong Twilightkin shooting is. So that is all this nonsense. So 40 breath and a lightning bolt onto the dragon. Yeah, 10 points of damage, and I wave. Oh, that's not waver. I'm so sorry. I thought I wavered him. That's actually the loot token. So 10 points of damage on the dragon, but didn't waver him. So not great. And on to turn 3. Okay, so turn 3 for Twilightkin. Obviously, he's just kind of pushed these chariots down, so he's only moving 5 now, rather than the 7 that Twilightkin moves. So he's limited. He's not going to be able to get around pretty quickly. And he's not done anything really exciting with this dragon. He's just kind of moved it back a little bit because all he wants to do is shoot. Right? It's just there for threat. It's not there for anything else. So the horde hasn't moved. However, he's kind of shoved forth a sacrificial unit because I've already whooped this unit fairly heavily. You can see I've done 7 damage with claw shots onto it. So it's already on the way out. His model's falling off, bless him. It's almost like they're not proper models, just kind of stuck on a base. Imagine that. So he's shoved this unit forward. He's grabbed the loot token here, and he's going to start, passing it back, which seems pretty sensible. So he's probably going to move this forward and grab it. Blah blah blah. Move this, this unit forward. This is a good tactic. So he took the charge, which is he's dropped the loot token with the dragon. So I'm kind of glad about this. I want this to happen. So he's dropped this loot token here, and he's charged this front weapon team with his dragon, which will die. So largely because the dragon's got 10 damage on it, right? So it's not long for this world. It's only it's a 17, 19. So I just need to do a little bit more damage than roll. So this base is obviously where the demon is, but the wings weren't playing nicely with each other. So he's charged the dragon in. So good. That's worked out for me. I need less dragons. He's done 4 points of damage onto a claw shot, which I don't like. We don't like at all. But I don't think he rolled. I think they're only an 8-10, but I think he rolled a 3. Maybe there'll be a screenshot later where he's not there anymore and I'll be wrong. We'll see. More shoots. So these chariots here, and these chariots here, and this dragon here. Oh, actually, look. Where's the warlock gone? I think he killed the warlock. I must not have shown that thing. So that 5 points of damage from this dragon's lightning bolts onto the warlock. So these guys aren't inspired anymore. The warlock's dead. And the chariots now this turn have taken this shock troop up to 7 points of damage, which is close to danger territory. So yes, once again, good, 4 points of damage. I think that's just showing that they're okay. They're okay. That's 5 points of damage onto a slave unit. So that's the other shooting. So the rest of the shooting, everything here is shooting, right? Let's just assume that something, a chariot regiment, is probably a good bet, has shot me. So 5 points of damage onto the slaves. Another 2 points of damage from some more shooting onto this weapon team. Oh, finally it's happened. Good. After 2 screenshots showing you they had 4 damage, they died. Well done. It's not hard to roll a 4. That was the other slave regiment. So remember there was a slave regiment here that I was using to hide. Oh, no, so I wasn't there. It was, in fact, here because I was hiding my demon behind it because this base is where my demon is. This base here with a handle on it. So these guys have shot, and one of the other regiments has shot. They took them up to 12 damage and took them off. Unsurprisingly, the demon's up to 3 damage, and this guy's on 2 damage, right? So he's just kind of picking away at me. That's the whole point of his army. So the dragon onto this weapon team did 2 points of damage, a whole 2, but still managed to roll enough. Despite the fact that it's a 9-11, he rolled well enough to take it off. So it, not unsurprising. How did he roll 2? He must have rolled more than that. It's a dragon. It's 30 attacks on 3s and 2s. Yeah, I probably just didn't put the damage dice down. Let's face it. So that's a dragon. So he's taken off. Oh, I know. No. I'm so sorry. It's not 2 points of damage. That was the weapon team on the hill. So he's done 2 points of damage to the weapon team that was there and taken that one off. That makes a lot more sense. And then, obviously, 30 attacks, 3s and 2s. We just double-1'd it, so he took that one off. So he's taken off 2 of my weapon teams with shooting and with the dragon. So that's not great for me. So then, on my turn, obviously, I took the charge. So I moved this weapon team out of the way. And I moved the standard bearer out of the way. Because what I want to do with them is shoot this chariot regiment that's got the token, right? I moved this slave regiment forward. Oh, so maybe he didn't die. Was there another one? I think there was another one. This is the other slave regiment. Grabbed the token. I've got 5 points of damage, so they're not going to last long. But obviously I moved the blight up behind them to pick up the token as well. And then the shock troops went into the dragon, because shock troops love to kill dragons. I've moved these guys forward. So this is just to offer some threat, basically. I'm fairly certain they're probably going to die from shooting, but what I want to try and do is get in. If I can get any of these in, I can't get that as it happens because there's no way I can fit here. But it might scare his dragon a little bit. Who knows what I was thinking. And then the demon, I jumped over because I had to take one of the charges. By jumping here, I'm out of the charge range of these archers, and I'm fairly certain I will be able to get, if not the first time, then definitely next turn, this chariot regiment. Whoa, look at that! So that's my shooting. That's the weapon teams. So we've done a red, so I think 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 damage, right, double ones. So the chariot regiment's gone. He's dropped the token here right in front of the archers. Seems sensible. And you can see I've rolled a 10. Get me with my nerve rolls. So that's one regiment off at least. Obviously the dragon died. And I one-shotted the chariot regiment with my demon. Go demon. So 13 on 3s and 2s. I just rolled well enough on that and on the rolls. Took them off in a single go. Hurrah! So now we've got a regiment here. We've got knights here who are facing a flank from a demon. So this is his base here facing that way. That's great. And let me tell you, I have learned new swear words in Spanish when that happened. So, unsurprisingly, he's taken the charge. So he's charged his chariots in, and he's charged his dragon in the front. It's facing the wrong way because it didn't play well, but it just fits in there. So the dragon by this point is up to 6 damage from the claw shots and the lightning bolts that I managed to get in. But however, I'm on 7 damage here, so these guys are nimble, but they're hindered, so they're charging me on 4s. Dragon's charging me on 3s. And I remember what happened. I actually remember the roll. So the chariots didn't do very well, but the dragon, it's 10 attacks, and it wounded with 8 of them. 8 of them, right? So 8 and 7 takes me up to 15 already. So even a few wounds from the chariots, it took me well into danger territory. And I think he killed them. He killed them in one shot, I seem to remember. We'll see, because turn 4. Oh, maybe not. I thought he did. We'll see. So this chariot is kind of crawling its way around. Fortunately, it still can't shoot my claw shots because it's out of 24. Again, out of 24. So that's good news for me. Oh, no, I know what happened. Right, so, sorry. He took the charge on turn 4. I'm so sorry. Of course he couldn't take the charge. It was my go, right? So he took this charge on turn 4. I just forgot to take a shot of the turn dice, and I hadn't deleted that screenshot. Whoops, I'm incompetent. Nice to meet you. So he took these shots, and this is when he did the 8 damage. Took me up to 15, blah, 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 blah. I'm spoiling my own spoilers. So the chariot regiment that was here charged here into the slave regiment that has the token. And the regiment, so the regiment that was here, that was shooting down here, took off that other slave regiment, has now turned and moved this way, which I think is a really solid thing to do, because it's offering now threat against the demon, who's, don't forget, already on 5 wounds. And then his archers kind of just turned like, yay. Because what he wants to do, even though he's moved, he's now going to shoot here on 5s, and here on 5s with piercing 1. So that seems sensible. So these chariots have gone in with their 2 points damage. So there they are, charging in. Now, I don't know how I've gone from 5 points damage here to... Oh, that's still 5. The light makes it look not like 5, so that's just showing you the charge. So the shooting from the archers and the chariots took the demon up to 8 points, which is not great. That's not where I wanted to be, because he was on 5 before. It's only 3 points of damage, so I guess that's expected from that volume of shooting. Actually quite good for that volume of shooting, even on 5s. Unsurprisingly, this charge, well, the 8 damage on 10 attacks on the dragon, yeah, so it went to 12 points in damage in total, and he managed to roll the 10 he needed to kill them in 1. So that's not good for me. So this side of the battlefield is now not looking great, because the loot token is still here, and his chariots could just go forward and get it, and I'm very heavily engaged on the other side. The dragon's up to 7. 7 points on a dragon is good, but this chariot horde is completely undamaged. So that is not a great position to be in. The slaves died, so he only did 1 point of damage with that charge, which seems extraordinary. But he rolled enough to kill them, even with the rally 2 that I've got. So he's taken that loot token. So we charge with the blight. So the blight charge into... this guy's with the chariots. Okay, there you go. So I charge in. I think, did he overrun or he backed up? He overran, which seems crazy. Why would you do that? I'd have backed up, but that's just me. Oh, probably because he didn't want charging by the demon. So he overran to try and stay out of rear charge, which he managed to do, which is probably... Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because he's going to get charged anyway. So I charge in with the blight, and I turn the shock troops. So this is a problem for me, because the other loot token that I desperately need to get is still there, right? And I'm kind of engaged here. But if you look at where the blight... So these shock troops, because they charged the dragon and overran, which probably wasn't very sensible. I should have just turned rather than overrunning. But it means that I've put in a place where, so my line of sight is here, I can't see the chariots. So that was a mistake on my behalf. So the blight go in and the shock troops turn. But I'm very heavily committed here, and I'm kind of blocked myself up, which is not sensible. But I've moved my shooting over here, so we're out of charge range of the chariots that are over there, but I can shoot into the archers, which are here. Right? And then I had another choice. So the demon, I think it was on 8 damage, and he was here. Right? I kind of need to turn off the archers, so that's what I've chosen to do. I've charged into the archers. I'm not going to kill them, but I am going to turn off their charge. The alternative that I had was to jump to here, 10, and then turn and lightning bolt. Right, because the dragon's on 7. So there's a potential that I could have done enough damage to get a good nerve roll on the dragon, but that's pretty risky, and he still would have been able to shoot me. I don't know if I made the right choice, but let's see. So don't forget his other chariot unit has been crawling around the corner here. So what I don't want is this turn for him to get into shooting range. So I move this unit of claw shots up rather than shoot. So I get an extra turn of shooting next turn. These guys can still shoot this turn. So the Blight bounce, which is catastrophic. I'm not going to lie to you, it's pretty catastrophic. So they take them up to 7 points damage, but it's 30 attacks, but it's on 5s and 3s. So I only managed to take them up to 7. What were they on before? Let's have a quick look. So they were on 2. So I do 5 points of damage, which I think is probably what you'd expect from that. It's still not great. I really needed to get that token off so I could turn and start moving into the other one. The Blight is really my secret weapon here because they're stealthy. The dragon does 10 points of damage off his 13 attacks, which is spectacular. Go demon. But obviously not good enough to do anything worthwhile. My claw shots do 1 point of damage, 1 massive point of damage to this chariot horde that's sitting in the woods. That's not good enough. And we're on to turn 5. Things aren't looking great. I'm not going to lie to you. So this is when we found the enjoyable prospect that a regiment of chariots won't fit through. And he was kind of like, oh. Anyway, he moved these chariots forward here, and he picked up the loot token, as you can see, which is here. Well, stop doing that. And the dragon moved up here to lightning bolt. So what he's going to do is lightning bolt and shoot the other chariots in the back, and shoot these chariots in the front. So we are not looking happy in Demon Town. He countercharged into my Blight. And he did not do anything with the archers. He didn't take the countercharge of the archers. Kind of hoped he would. Instead, he chose to shoot with everything else that he's got, which is by far the better choice because he takes him from 8 wounds to 15. If you know anything about demon spawns, they are a 16-18, so even a double 1. A double 1 is an auto you're okay, right? So actually, a 3 from a 15 would be a kill. So anything but a double 1 twice. Yeah, and that's what he rolled, a double 6. So twice, but that was a second roll. So yeah, bye demon. Anyway, just to make sure. So here we took both units into the chariots. Was that sensible? I didn't really have a choice, I think, from where I was. So yeah, they're definitely dead. I'm gonna move my remaining 2 shooting units here because I really need to start killing this chariot horde with them and the claw shots, or the 2 claw shots that are 1 or 2 claw shots. I think I've got 3 left. So we take them up to 5 wounds. That's not enough, lads. That's definitely not enough. So we overran with the Blight and we turn the shock troops. So I've got to say, so obviously last turn when they recharged they only did 1 point of damage. So the Blight are only on 6, so they're okay with their 1 token that I've got. Haha! I didn't take a photo of the turn dice, so I've done my screenshots properly this time. So turn 6. This is when it gets desperate, right? So he's got his token, and he's dropped it, moved the chariots forward, and picked it up with the dragon, which is absolutely the right thing to do. So the dragon's there with his 7 points of damage, and he's realising he can't get the chariot regiment through. He's turned it sideways, and then next turn he's going to kind of like shuffle sideways. I don't know if there's a turn 7. Well, you can't do anything else with that unit, can you? I'd have just left it there and shot things, but that's just me. This chariot unit has finally managed to make it around the corner and is within 24 of these guys. That's not great. And worse, the chariot horde has shot my 1 remaining weapon team. 5 points of damage, it's gone. I've made another, so lots of mistakes here. Lots of mistakes. He's got the chariot horde. He's passed the token to the dragon. This distance here, from here to here, is more than 6. I can't get my standard bearer into the woods to shoot the dragon because the dragon is behind the woods. So that's not great. See, all the shooting you see here has done 15 points of damage to the Blight. There it is, 15 points of damage. And do they survive? Let's find out. So 1 point of damage on them. That's my turn. Hang on. They might have survived. I think they survived on 15 damage, which is nuts. I think they were dash 22 at that point, so it's not unreasonable, I suppose. We also survived the 1 point of damage from the claw shots. So then in my turn, so the shooting from the diadem and from the claw shots. So again, I roll really well. That's my nerve roll, so I rolled an 8. So I must have done, well, they already had 1 or 5, they had 5, didn't they? So I can't remember the nerve for a Twilight Kin Horde. But anyway, we did enough damage that we killed them. That's brilliant, except it's turn 6. And the dragon here with his 7 points of damage has still got the token. Can't get in here. I can't see him with the claw shots. It's all bad. There is nothing I can do. So the Blight have gone into the archers. Whoa. Oh, spoiler warning. So the Blight went to the archers. We didn't kill them. The shock troops are too far away. I can't get to my last chance would have been if I had a turn 7, I could have got into here. I think there was a turn 7. I can't remember. Maybe there wasn't or wasn't. I haven't taken the screenshot, so I don't think there was. Even if I got in here on turn 6 to try and do one last blow. That's why I'm saying, you know, if I'd have jumped the demon over and tried to lightning bolt, I might have got something. But anyway, I didn't. Twilight Kin victory. It was a 2-1 to Mario. So well done to Mario. And that ended day 3? No, day 1. That ended game 3 and ended day 1 of the tournament. It was my day 2 because I played on Friday, but for everyone else it was halfway through. So let's take a quick look at the standings at the end of day 1. So this was the first 3 rounds. So these are some of the players that were playing. So you can see I've done it down to my position, which was 24th at this point. So I'd done a 17, 17 and a 4. Okay, so this was a standard 20-0 scoring, so it was a 5 for a loss, 10 for a draw, and 15 for a win, with a ±5 for attrition difference. So you can see the top player there is one of the Marios. So this is the Mario who brought all Brock, so he'd done exceptionally well, 20, 18, 19. So what's really interesting, the top 10. So number 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9 were Spanish players, right? So that's wow. So Mario Pinos is number 9. He's the guy that just beat me. It was a 16-4, so not as strong as it could have been. So I managed to kill quite a lot of his stuff. You've got Andy Ransom there, Andy 2d6, who's at 3. We've got Dom Stavaker, who went to Adepticon last year. He's at 7, so he's gone 3 good. Oh, he's had a draw in the middle there, so it's win draw. And win 19s though, so really strong wins. And Dan Reed's doing exceptionally well, so he had a draw, so win, draw, win. So the guys who have won all 3 are the top 6. Everyone else has had a draw or not. So Mario, who beat me, had an 18, but he had 3 wins, but 2 16s. Okay, and then all the way down the table. So from like position 12 down, you have had at least 1 loss or not very strong wins, right? So I'm right down there at 24. You've got Matt James and Steph Donovan and people like that. And Dan King, one above me, so he'd had a loss in his second game as well. So, but he had 2 stronger wins than me, so 18-2-18, whereas I had 17-17-4, which interestingly puts us on exactly the same score, 38. Check us out, we're in the same team. Go our team. That was into day 3, game 3. We all then went and played games and had lots of drinks. It was good fun. So I'm going to close this one off now, and I will edit the next 3 games and get them up in the next few days. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time on Death by Dragons.